Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. A hot new book is coming out about Oscar Goodman, the mayor of Las Vegas. The author is one of our guests on the show today, and he's got the rundown.
Sam, tensions are getting higher in Clark County as people wait to see whether or not they're going to be indicted by the grand jury. Indictments have been handed down in San Diego, and this morning we talked to John L. Smith, columnist for the Las Vegas Review-Journal, and get an update. Dan Meyer ran for governor a couple of years ago. He's very unhappy with what the legislature has done. He's here today to complain. I think that's the word for it. Sam?
And on the pundit panel today, Jason Geddes, Martha Gould, and Ray Hagar. It's all coming up next on the all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by Charter Communication.
The Aboud family has an appetite for dialogue. Agree or disagree, have the conversation. All opinions are welcome. Since 1977, Adele's.
Catch a straight, dine at 8. Lucky you. Lucky you. Dance till 1. Have some fun. Lucky you. Lucky you. Taste the shrimp. Have a sip. Try the pool. Play it cool. At the Sienna Hotel Spa Casino. Lucky you.
The biggest risk your company can take.
Well, Barbara, you did very well on your interview.
Hiring employees can help your business get to the next level.
And your resume looks outstanding.
And it can also expose you to corporate crimes and costly lawsuits that can bring your company to its knees.
So, we'd like to offer you a position.
Before you hire another employee, hire the professionals at Employer Links. Call today to get our free CD-ROM, the top 8 risks of hiring employees.
If you own a business and want to maximize your company's potential, join the Retail Association of Nevada. Our membership benefits include the Nevada Retail Network Self-Insured Group, providing workers' compensation coverage that can lower your rates. That savings can go directly to your bottom line. We are an effective pro-business organization that lobbies on behalf of our business members. The Retail Association of Nevada, protecting Nevada businesses for 35 years. Call 882-1700 to see what we can do for your organization.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad, political analyst Ande Engleman on No Holds Barred Political Forum. Now, from the News 4 Broadcast Center, here's Sam Shad.
And welcome back to Nevada Newsmakers here along with Ande Engleman. And on the phone this morning, John L. Smith. Well, actually, I should say this afternoon, as it's already past midday.
Right.
John L. Smith is on the phone with us from Las Vegas, and he's our favorite columnist for the Las Vegas Review-Journal and has his finger on the pulse of what's happening with the indictments down in southern Nevada. Bring us up to date on the latest, would you, John?
Well, I think the latest is a kind of a shoe almost dropping, because Michael Ghilardi, owner of the topless clubs that have become so notorious, has cut a deal with the government that by everyone's estimate down here was about the sweetest deal he could imagine. Down in San Diego, where he faced multiple charges related to a corruption investigation of that city council in that city, Ghilardi cut a deal where he agreed to plead guilty to a conspiracy to commit wire fraud, which, with no prior record, would give him the low end of the sentencing guidelines, which would mean that he would get a small sentence and possibly even no sentence at all, I guess, but probably a small sentence to serve. That does not mean that he won't have other charges that he might face in Las Vegas coming up, but he's agreed to cooperate. What he has to share, of course, could be very dramatic.
Okay, now what about can you believe the audacity of the San Diego City Councilmen who are not stepping down, they're continuing on and pleading innocent?
Well, all I can say is that nothing that politicians do surprises me when they get in trouble. It's at least coyotes, when they're in a trap, have the courage to chew their leg off and walk away. The fact is that these councilmen, despite the fact they're on wiretap, despite the fact they've shamed their office, and let's set aside for a moment the legality issues. They have been indicted, of course, but they might they might possibly not be convicted. There's stranger things have happened.
John,
but the bottom line is, if they stepped down, they would show that they had more care for the office than they did for themselves, and of course they're not going to do that.
John, I imagine things are pretty tense in Clark County right now as people are waiting to see who's indicted. When is this going to happen?
Well, it's a great question, and if I had a little better sourcing, I might have an answer for you specifically. But the fact is, I'm hearing that the prosecutors working on the case, which of course is confidential, that they have gone through the early stages of the draft of their charging document, which means that they're getting closer. Late October was the breakaway date that I had heard early. I tend to believe that it will be sooner than that. That it could be in the next week, as short as the next week, and of course in within 2 or 3 weeks. The grand jury runs through January down here in Las Vegas, and so they certainly have more time if they want to take it. But the fact is, with the San Diego case charged, the defense attorneys will start asking for discovery. They'll start asking for those tapes now, and those tapes just might help the defense in Las Vegas. So the prosecution, of course, is going to want to charge before those tapes get released. Okay,
now, the topless industry is a huge industry in southern Nevada. How are they reacting to your various columns?
Well, it's interesting. Some of the guys have maintained their sense of humor, and some of them have not. That comes with the turf, so that's okay. I did get a call from one of the managers of Cheetahs, which is one of Ghilardi's bigger clubs, who was very disappointed in what he was reading, and said, let's not forget that we don't want to close these businesses because they're great for the economy, and they do employ hundreds of bartenders and what they call floor men, what we would call bouncers. And they also employ, of course, up to thousands, if you can believe it, of dancers. And, I speculated in a recent column that, I'd hate to see all those dancers out of work because, then they might try to pull a bank job in those high heels, and, you never know what could happen.
All right, I want to bring up another industry, if I may. The several major casinos in Las Vegas are now promoting the fact that they have topless bathing areas. What are we to make of this?
Well, Sam, this is not that family-friendly Las Vegas that you were hearing about a few years ago. That marketing ploy worked to a certain degree. Las Vegas, of course, and as Nevada gaming does in general, tries to reinvent itself fairly regularly. Because the games are the same, and because the house odds are the same, the marketing has to change. They have to put a new sizzle in the steak. And of course, sex has sold Las Vegas from the very start. People will think that Las Vegas and Reno were, that those two cities were built on, first of all, the quickie divorce industry, and then gambling, and that sort of thing. But all through that runs a thread of using the female form to promote a product. And Las Vegas is doing that now. The fact is, they're working behind the scenes. I believe that they're going to try to get topless bars, actual topless cabarets, inside the casinos in the next few years.
You think that's going to happen while Bobby Siller stays on the Gaming Commission?
I think Bobby Siller can't stay forever, and I do believe he's opposed to it. Bobby Siller's the former head of the FBI office here in Las Vegas, about as straight as the day is long, and he probably won't want to go for that. But like I say, nobody serves in the gaming control forever.
John, we're almost out of time, but I wanted to talk briefly about your book. You've got a new book about Oscar Goodman that's about to come out. What period of his life does it cover?
Well, it covers the arc of his career from his early days as a kid in Philadelphia throughout his career as a mob lawyer, and ends with a couple of chapters on his run at Nevada politics through the election to the mayor's office, now 2 terms. It's basically the book about how he managed to maneuver through those rough waters of dealing with Anthony Spilatro, representing federal Judge Harry Claiborne, the drug trafficker Jimmy Chagra, mob families in Philadelphia, Los Angeles, San Diego, Chicago, Kansas City, you name it. He had frequent flyer miles. And it tries to capture that. It's over 400 pages long. I'm very proud of it, in case you can't tell.
And what's the title of it, John?
Hey, thanks.
Well, no, what's the title of the book?
It's called Of Rats and Men, Oscar Goodman's life from mob mouthpiece to mayor of Las Vegas.
Okay, and there's going to be some excerpts on the reviewjournal.com starting this weekend, correct?
That's correct. We'll be running 2 Sundays worth of excerpts, some fairly lengthy pieces that'll cover some key criminal cases, and then his rather surprising run at politics at a late date.
Well, we can't wait for the book to show up in our mailbox, and Andy and I will fight over who gets to read it first.
Thank
John,
you
we'll
very
talk to you
much.
next week for another update, okay?
Thanks so much.
Thank you. John L.
Take
Smith
care.
from Las Vegas, the finest writer in Nevada. We'll take a break. We'll be right back after this timeout.
Experience adrenaline with Curtis Adams. Watch him defy modern science with amazing acrobatics and sexy show-stopping effects that'll make your pulse race. Adrenaline. It's a new kind of magic. One night only, September 27th, live at the Pioneer.
Adrenaline. Curtis Adams. Magic that rocks.
It's hot.
Would you like to savor a Trento pork chop? Or maybe pasta rags with grilled chicken? Hugo's Tuscan Grill at D'Andrea is a celebration of color, flavor, and freshness. Each dish is created from natural, wholesome foods that is delicious and nutritious. Hugo's is a comfortable restaurant with breathtaking city views. If you enjoy great food and good company, visit us here at Hugo's. It's the best that dining can be. 2900 South D'Andrea Parkway in Sparks.
Welcome to Sushi Club, best sushi in town. The Sushi Club in Independence Square used the best quality products. The sushi is dynamite, and the service is just wonderful.
The Sushi Club is bigger and better. We have 11 sushi chefs on staff, and the service is great.
All your friends will tell you that Sushi Club is the best place for the best sushi.
Come join us for lunch or dinner.
The Sushi Club, 294 East Moana Lane in the Independence Square.
Now that's great sushi.
To experience the royal cuisine of India, you need some serious magic or simply transport yourself to India Garden, right here in Reno, where you'll discover Indian specialties refined over centuries. Sikh kebab, tandoori dishes cooked in our own tandoor oven, biryani specialties, curries, fresh-baked Indian bread, over a dozen vegetarian dishes, even dishes rare to India like dosa, South Indian-style crepes. India Garden off South Virginia near Sports West. We are India.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad and Ande Engleman.
Back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're joined by Dan Myers, who heads up a slot route operation called Comstock Games. Welcome to the program, Dan.
Welcome. Thank you.
Dan, thank you for being here. Now, I know you went before the legislature during the session to complain about the tax proposal on slot route operators, and they did increase it.
Mm-hmm.
What's the impact?
The impact will be, since I deal with small operations, small mom-and-pop bars, markets, and stores, I'm going to have to either redo my flat rates that I pay them, because I share the revenue that I make, unlike the casinos, with the location owners. And that could be 50, 60, 70% of the revenue. So when you flatline an increase, such as they did on me, or my industry, it's going to greatly affect the
Let's explain. So not everybody's familiar with slot route operations.
Mm-hmm.
But you own slot machines and you put them in like laundromats and places like that.
Yeah,
for
and little
people to
bars
play,
and little
right?
convenience
Little
stores
bars
and so forth.
Okay, and you split the take from that with the owner of the location.
Exactly.
Is that right? Okay. Now, when you say they flatlined, what does this mean?
They increased our taxes 33%. It was going to be 100%, and including that gross receipts tax.
What was the tax? What is the tax now?
It's now $81 per machine per quarter on the quarter tax. It was $61, and it goes up exponentially over 5 machines. So it's actually gone up quite a bit for the small taverns that you see at 15 machines. I would seriously doubt if the revenue's there to keep those there. So you'll probably see some reduction in the number of machines on the street.
All right. So when you talk about this, who pays that tax?
The slot route operator.
Okay.
The license holder, whether it's the location or the slot route operator. Usually it's the slot route operator.
who pays that, and you go back to the location and tell them you want them to pay part of it, and
yeah, I'm gonna have to
some of it from them?
renegotiate. And I've talked to some of the others here in town. There's 5 of us in Reno, and we're all in the same boat. We're going to have to renegotiate and see which are viable accounts anymore. Some of the accounts may have to be closed.
All right, so what kind of profit were you making before this? What percentage of profit were you making?
The gross profit we're making is about 4%, which, when you think about it, these small accounts have limited parking, limited customer count. It's not a huge volume turnover type business. And in gaming, the casinos, they're always trying to increase their volume because that's where their money's made. When you start talking about small businesses that don't have the volume, and you flatline increase these taxes and base it not on the percentage of income that they make, but on the number of machines, there's some quarters that these machines may be in the hole, not making any money.
Is there somebody you want to point at to say that they're trying to push you out of business?
It's the Nevada Resort Association and the Vegas casinos. I wouldn't say the casinos in Reno necessarily. I've had some support from some of the folks up here, and I've seen some of the casinos in the northern part actually go into street accounts. They've bought one of my competitors recently, and they're doing what I'm doing. So I don't see it necessarily as a unified approach, but there's some in Vegas that I would consider not friendly to my cause.
What's the advantage for casinos to drive you out of business?
Increase their volume.
Why?
Because,
how would that do that?
If the demand stays the same and the supply is reduced, where do they go?
I mean, they couldn't go to the laundromat, they'd have to come to the casino to gamble.
So they're, in some ways, with Indian gaming, they've turned on their own, which is me, in gaming, and they're coming after my customers.
How long do you envision the slot route industry being able to stay in business if this continues?
I don't know. I've done it for 22 years, since '81, and I'm hoping to get 20 years, but if things continue, because I'm sure this will not stop, probably 5 more years, and I'll have to look for another job.
You testified at the legislature, they didn't listen?
They listened some. I mean, I got the tax reduced a little bit, and I also helped educate them on what the casinos actually did pay, because a lot of them were under the misnomer that the casinos paid 6.25%. I gave them numerous workouts of the tiered system that the casinos have.
And the casino tax went up even higher than that, so I guess you were successful.
Well, if I was going to pay, I was going to make other people pay as well.
Okay, and an interesting position. Dan Myers, Comstock Games, thanks very much for being here. We appreciate it. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this timeout.
Before you head to Carson, take care of yourself with a visit to Tamarack Junction. Catch a hot cup of coffee and the morning news on one of our 32 TVs and enjoy the best food in South Reno. Tamarack Junction, your junction for fun. South Virginia and Amati Ranch Parkway.
The Aboud family has an appetite for dialogue. Agree or disagree, have the conversation. All opinions are welcome. Since 1977, Adele's.
Today's lesson, another reason to take the Gold Rush Club Card Challenge. With the Gold Rush Card, you really have 3 cards in one. Use your cash back. You still keep your comps and drawing tickets. Use your comps. You still keep your cash and drawing tickets. And with your drawing tickets, you could win thousands in cold hard cash every week and still keep your cash back and comps. Does your club add up? Graduate to the Gold Rush Players Club. It's the smart thing to do. The Gold Dust West, south on Keystone, east on 4th.
When you sign up for Wells Fargo Free Checking, you get more than free checking. You get the freedom to bank when and where you want. Wells Fargo, the next stage.
Make your daily commute easy with breakfast or lunch at the Tamarack Junction. Enjoy daily specials, super fast service, and South Reno's freshest morning meals. Tamarack Junction, your junction for fun. South Virginia and Amati Ranch Parkway.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad and Ande Engleman.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're joined by our panel here today, Martha Gould, Ray Hagar, and Jason Geddes. And I'm going to start off with a little reading here. This is an editorial from the Las Vegas Review-Journal, harps on one of my pet peeves. It's called Constitutional End Run. As if the 6-1 decision by the Nevada Supreme Court setting aside the Gibbons tax restraint initiative wasn't insult enough, the justices have added further injury to Silver State taxpayers by pocketing outside compensation intended precisely to circumvent the intent of the state constitution. The state constitution prohibits office holders from receiving any increase in compensation without first facing the voters. So when the 2001 legislature approved a 30% salary hike for the justices, only those elected or re-elected in 2002 qualified immediately for the higher pay. Last paragraph, I won't bore you. When 5 of the 7 justices complained that they would not qualify for the salary increase until after the next election campaigns, lawmakers should have said tough. Instead, with barely a whimper of opposition, the legislature created the Supreme Court Commission on Law Libraries and compensated the 5 justices who sit on it and its various adjuncts an amount that's equal to the pay hike their colleagues who faced the voters in 2002 were awarded. How convenient. End quote. What do you think?
We need to point out that Jason Geddes was not in that legislature. He didn't get elected till after that happened, right?
Correct.
Okay, well, let's just start with the panel. Martha, are you not outraged?
Actually, I am outraged. I always have believed that people do not have the right to vote themselves a pay raise. There is no accountability and there is no responsibility. And it was wrong. Pure and simple.
And this is a continuing problem with the Supreme Court. I mean, why can't they wait until, they run for election, they know what the job is before they get in there,
yes,
and then they circumvent the Constitution in this manner.
But
it seems outrageous.
And we know how Sam feels. Can we hear from somebody else?
You know how I feel.
Why don't you guys jump in here?
Well, if it's really outrageous, let's see what the voters have to say in the next election.
Absolutely.
I mean, let's see if the voters agree with the Las Vegas Review-Journal editorial board.
Who, in my opinion, they don't want anybody to get a raise in any form of government or private business.
Well, let me point out that we did have Chief Justice Deborah Agosti on our show at the beginning of the legislative session, and we brought this issue up to her. And as a result, she has refused to come back on the show. So it's something that's clearly sensitive to the justices.
And we asked Justice Maupin his opinion when he was running for re-election last year.
2 years ago, yeah.
And he had no opinion on it. It seems rather surprising for, at the time, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court.
But this is an issue that's more than just impacting the justices of the Supreme Court. This is an issue that I think impacts all elected officials. You do not vote yourself a raise. I'm sorry. If you want to vote a raise, then it goes into effect if you are re-elected. Period. The end.
But clearly they didn't vote for it.
They didn't vote for it.
The legislature
chose
did,
and put it in,
and that means
and
that they
that's a different body.
kowtowed to the Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court did request it.
All right,
They
so
begged for it.
Jason, what do you think? I mean, isn't this outrageous?
I think it's outrageous, and I think they'll stand, when they stand for re-election, they'll stand the 6-1 opinion they're going to have to answer for, and this pay raise they're going to have to answer for when they stand up for the election. The legislature is the one who approved it, though, so I'm not entirely sure how far they're out there. It could be pressure brought to bear upon the legislature to pass it, and the studies always bring that.
Who brings pressure to that? Who brought pressure to you?
Nobody. I'm not sure what pressure could be brought to bear. Lobbyists tend to come in and bring pressure, but no one really pressured me, so I don't know. I mean, they can come in there, they can state their case, they've got the commission. It could be an end run. It could be a justifiable expense for additional duties above and beyond the call. I don't want to judge them. I don't want to judge them. I think the voters can.
I'm sorry, they have to be able to make their case to the public.
Well, yes. let me give a little history. It used to always be this way. This was the way it always was for paying justices. And the public became outraged a few years ago, and that's when they voted in a law saying they couldn't do it. I mean, we not only have the constitutional prohibition, we have a state law. And in 2001, when the legislature passed this, a lot of us were going around saying, how can you do this when the public clearly put, there's an ethics law prohibiting this, how can you do this? And Senator Raggio and the rest of them said the court needs it, and they went ahead and did it.
Is it the Good Old Boy Network?
Or Good Old Girl?
Well, there are a few good old girls there, too. I admit that.
Okay, Ray, John L. Smith brought up some interesting points in his interview. You want to comment on some of them?
Yes, I do. the topless cabaret scandal in Las Vegas, it reminds me that life sometimes imitates art. It reminds me of Tony Soprano and Polly Walnuts hanging out at the Bada Bing Club in The Sopranos. And he talks about the mayor of Las Vegas, Oscar Goodman. So many times, friends of mine from Las Vegas say, there is no more organized crime in Las Vegas. And I say, well, maybe so, but their lawyer is your mayor, so how do you figure that out? And just by the definition, this is organized. It's in Las Vegas, it's in San Diego, and it's crime. So put the two together and you have organized crime. Maybe not in the same package that it used to be, but I would still, by definition, call it organized crime.
Well, and they say that when the mafia was pushed out of the casinos, they moved into the other operations like loan sharking, drugs, prostitution, and...
Well, they always existed.
They always existed, but that was
and
where the mob
was
influence ended
involved.
up being pushed out of the casinos.
But I think
and the mob may be out of Las Vegas, but now you have corporate crime.
Okay, and that's where we have to leave it. What an interesting place to pick up next time. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
Big Apple Pizza, best pizza in Nevada. Take what?
Today we're here, we're making homemade meatballs for a meatball parm. You like cheesesteak? I think you're like in South Philly right now. It's the best cheese ever made. Now that's how a Philly cheesesteak's supposed to look.
And here's little Cole.
This is authentic. We'll throw some pepperoni in here. Not gonna be shy about it. I bet you guys didn't know I could do that. Don't skimp on the toppings. Authentic as it gets. Big Apple Pizza and Subs on the corner of Bering and McCarran, a New Jersey guy who knows how to make an East Coast pizza.
Would you like to savor a Trento pork chop? Or maybe pasta rags with grilled chicken? Hugo's Tuscan Grill at D'Andrea is a celebration of color, flavor, and freshness. Each dish is created from natural, wholesome foods that is delicious and nutritious. Hugo's is a comfortable restaurant with breathtaking city views. If you enjoy great food and good company, visit us here at Hugo's. It's the best that dining can be. 2900 South D'Andrea Parkway in Sparks.
Experience adrenaline with Curtis Adams. Watch him defy modern science with amazing acrobatics and sexy show-stopping effects that'll make your pulse race. Adrenaline. It's a new kind of magic. One night only, September 27th, live at the Pioneer.
Adrenaline. Curtis Adams. Magic that rocks.
It's hot.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by Charter Communication.
Good thing you don't have a case before the Supreme Court.
That's the truth, but I do feel better now. Who's coming up tomorrow?
John Marvel and Deirdre Pike.
We'll see you.